Ever been judged before someone even knew your story? The narrator's voice trembles with quiet power as the camera zooms in on a man in a wrinkled suit, standing alone outside a courthouse. He was a single dad, a war hero, and today, the system turned its back on him. But when the truth came out, everyone in that courtroom went silent. Pause. If you believe real heroes deserve justice, hit that like button, and stay till the end. This one will change how you see people forever. John Walker sat quietly at the defendant's table, his calloused hands folded on the cold wooden surface. His heart pounded, not from fear, but frustration. Across the courtroom, Officer Bradley leaned back in his chair, smirking as if he had already won. The man had lied. He claimed John attacked him during a traffic stop. But John knew the truth. He'd simply asked why he was being pulled over, with his little daughter Lily crying in the back seat. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. Reporters scribbled notes, cameras flashed, and John's worn suit looked out of place among the polished shoes and sharp ties. He wasn't just any man, though. He was a decorated Navy SEAL, a veteran of 3 tours, and a father doing his best to raise his daughter after losing his wife to cancer. But none of that mattered here. To the judge and jury, he was just another angry man in handcuffs. Officer Bradley took the stand, his voice calm but cold. Your Honor, when I asked him to step out of the vehicle, he got aggressive. He reached for something near his waistband. I feared for my life. The courtroom murmured. John's lawyer, a young, overworked public defender, looked uneasy. Mr. Walker, please remain calm, she whispered. But John couldn't believe it. He remembered that night vividly. The rain, the flashing lights, Lily sobbing in the back seat as he handed over his license. He hadn't done a single thing wrong. When it was his turn to speak, John stood slowly. His voice was low but steady. Your Honor, I've faced worse storms than this, he said softly. I've fought for people I'll never meet. I've bled for this country. But I never thought I'd have to fight it too. His words stirred something in the courtroom. Even the judge shifted uncomfortably. But Bradley's lawyer objected, claiming John was playing the hero card. The prosecutor called him unstable, dangerous, a veteran with trauma. The crowd nodded, believing the man in uniform over the man who once wore one. The gavel struck, and the hearing was postponed. Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded him, shoving microphones in his face. Mr. Walker, did you really attack an officer? One asked. John didn't respond. He simply picked up Lily, kissed her forehead, and whispered, Daddy's gonna fix this, baby. I promise. Days passed. Bills piled up. His name was smeared across the news. His daughter's schoolmates whispered that her dad was a criminal. Still, John didn't lose faith. He prayed every night, not for revenge, but for truth. Then, one morning, a letter arrived. It was sealed with a Navy insignia. Inside was a simple message. We heard what happened. Sit tight. Help is coming. The next court date arrived. The courtroom was quieter this time, but tense. Bradley sat confidently, his uniform shining, while John's lawyer nervously shuffled papers. The judge entered, and just as proceedings began, the door at the back creaked open. A tall man in full navy dress blues walked in, metals gleaming under the light. The murmurs stopped. Everyone turned as he approached the front. The judge frowned. Sir, may I ask who you are? The man stood tall. Admiral Thomas Green, U.S. Navy. I'm here on behalf of the Department of Defense. The judge blinked in shock. The Department of Defense. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Walker isn't just a veteran. He's Commander John Walker, former leader of SEAL Team 6, with 20 years of exemplary service. We've reviewed the officer's body cam footage, which conveniently went missing from police records, but not from our servers. Gasps filled the room. The prosecutor's face turned pale. The judge ordered the video to be played immediately. On screen, the truth unfolded. Bradley had been rude, aggressive, and disrespectful. John had remained calm, his daughter visibly scared. When John reached toward his waistband, it was to hand over his license, nothing more. Bradley had fabricated the entire story. The courtroom erupted. The judge slammed the gavel. Officer Bradley, you are hereby charged with perjury and obstruction of justice. John stood still, tears forming in his eyes. The admiral walked up to him, saluted, and said, You've served this country with honor, Commander. Now let us serve you. The case was dismissed. Reporters rushed to capture the moment, but John ignored them. He knelt beside Lily, who looked up at him with tears of joy. "Does this mean we can go home, Daddy?" He smiled softly. "Yeah, sweetheart. We can finally go home." As they stepped out into the sunlight, the Admiral followed. "The Navy always looks after its own," he said. "We'd like you to consider joining our veteran advocacy program. Help us protect others who've been wronged." John looked at his daughter, then back at the Admiral. "If it helps people like me, I'm in." Weeks later, John stood at a podium, speaking to hundreds of veterans, families, and officers. "Justice doesn't wear a uniform," he said. "It's not black or white, it's what's right." The crowd rose in applause. Somewhere in the back, Lily waved proudly, clutching the medal he once thought meant nothing. And as the screen fades out, the narrator's voice returns. "Never underestimate a quiet man. Because sometimes, the ones who've already fought their hardest battles, are the ones still standing for truth." If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, so more people can see that real heroes don't need medals, they just need to be heard.